Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I am Gargi Raut and joining me today is Ishan Shahane, Abhijit Deshmukh, Bharat Ramraj and Atreyo who's joining us from outside the stadium. It looks like there's a lot of sun over there. Atreyo, there's been some news of rain a few days before the match. What's the weather like right now? Like every show, we're starting with the weather because it's important. We don't want any rain to play spoil sport.
Well, unlike the first test in Bengaluru, where we began our early conversation every day with a weather report, I don't think there is need to do that over here in Pune, at least for the time being. It did rain a couple of days back quite heavily, but now it's very, very bright and sunny. And not just the sun, I see a lot of people coming over here. And the ground being so, the stadium being so far away, being away from the heart of the city of Pune, it's really good to see that so many people are turning up for to watch the test match. So we are in for I think full day of play, and things are looking good as far as cricket is concerned. Things are looking good.
That's great to hear. Abhijit, you live in Pune, so tell us what are you expecting out of the surface this time? We spoke to Shubhayan and he's been telling us that this is a very, very curated pitch. And what are you expecting out of the conditions this time around?
See the last two matches. I mean, the MCA Stadium has hosted only two Test match before. The one was against South Africa in, I guess, 2017, where India won that match in about 3.5 days, and then there was a match against Australia, which was less than 3 days. So you know, I basically want what a good a pitch which is good for a sport, because if you just have spinners, I think then probably the way it has been, the match might even end up in 3 days. But the Indian team is looking for vengeance from the for the first Test match they had, and it will be good to see how they come up and play this Test match. I'm sure they're favorites for this one. Although New Zealand was in great form in the first Test match, but I think India knows, like, okay, this is the time you can't really lose this Test match, and they've learned from their mistakes. I think what I'm really looking for is a good test from here. But yeah, I think I hope it doesn't end in 2 or 3 days. But because, as Atreo mentioned, the stadium is too far. People, it takes time for people to reach out to the stadium, and I hope the test matches lasted till day 5.
Okay, well, we have the toss result and drum roll, please. New Zealand have won the toss and opted to bat first. Bharat Ishan, how does this change things? Rohit Sharma said that he would have liked to bat as well. Uh, with the conditions with Pune, how does this change everything for India?
Yeah, it's an advantage for New Zealand only because they have won the toss and opted to bat. In Indian conditions, you would want to bat first because it gives you an advantage. Afterwards, this kind of a pitch might start to assist the spinners. So by then, New Zealand could be in a sort of advantage. But then India have to bowl out New Zealand early. Obviously, they to make sure that they don't score more than 300 runs in these conditions. Once you score 300, 350 in these conditions, then it might be kind of difficult for India to mount a fight back. So day one going to be key because on day one you don't expect a lot of resistance for spinners. So seamers have to come into the equation. I'm seeing Akash Deep might play. So he's the kind of bowler who can succeed in these kind of conditions. Pitches that stay low tend to stay low because he's a very skiddy bowler, bowls stump to stump line, and he could get a few LBWs balls if they pick him. So it is important that India restrict New Zealand to under 300 the first innings. Then they can definitely come into play.
Yeah, I agree with Bharat Gagi. I think, with winning the toss, electing to bat first, the Kiwis definitely have that sort of upper hand at the moment. They will like to set the tone of the game like they did in the first test match as well. So, in these conditions, it's a good toss to win, in my opinion. They look to play out the first session carefully. But the Indians will hope to get early wickets. If they get those early breakthroughs, then the pressure can be put on the Kiwis as soon as possible. But if we let that partnership build, then you never know. So getting the openers out, breaking through those initial batters will be the importance for this Indian side here. But good toss to win for New Zealand. They'll be looking to build on that. Obviously, this is a side that will be coming into the second test with a lot more confidence. to continue on with the winning streak. But at the same time, this Indian team, we all know when they want to fight back and when they want to make a comeback, how lethal they can be. So it's going to be an interesting contest. But I wish that India had won the toss, because that would have, possibly seen them go out there, take their attacking route, and see some explosive shots and cricketing being played. But at the moment when New Zealand win the toss, it's going to be a fascinating test match to watch.
And we have the squad as well. Quite an interesting squad here. I'll read it out. Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Sarfaraz Khan, Rishabh Pant, Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin, Akash Deep, Jasprit Bumrah, and Washington Sundar. Atreyu, Abhijit, all of you actually. What are your first impressions of the squad?
Who
Atreyu,
goes
you go
first?
first.
So Akashdeep, Shubman Gill, and Washington Sundar are the players in.
Oh, I think some.
I think there could be some network issue at the stadium. I think it's a good change. Washington Sundar especially because Kuldeep Yadav was there in the first test match,
Sorry,
but Washington Sundar gives you that a batting option as well. We all seen what Sundar has done with the bat as well. Who doesn't remember that exceptional knock he had in the Australia Test series? And I think, of course, Gill has been a fantastic player. I think so. It was expected that he'll be there. But even if you see for Siraj, who has been dropped out, I think he hasn't. He has been a good, I would say, a white ball bowler. But I think with the red ball, he hasn't been good. I think overall he has taken just 60 wickets. Of sorry, 80 wickets in the 30 test match he has played. So in a way, it looks like he hasn't been that good in the recent form. But yeah, I think it's a good option to have the changes, three changes in this playing 11.
Atreyu?
I have nothing to say. I think Abhijit has answered that.
Sorry? Couldn't hear you.
I think I said that I have nothing to add because I think Abhijit has already answered it.
Okay. Bharat, any new points to add to that?
Yeah,
Anything
good
else?
changes only. I've already noted Akash Deep is the right kind of bowler for Indian conditions, because he bowls stump to stump line, not someone who goes outside of ball stump to stump line. And he's a skiddy bowler. So if you miss, he's going to get a lot of LBWs, a lot of balls, and that is his key strength in Indian conditions. That really works. So that's a good change. Washington Sundar, obviously, India want to, I guess, strengthen their batting lineup somewhere. Keep Washington Sundar as well. So now India have nine batters, even Ashwin at number nine, or whatever lineup, whatever position he comes out to bat. So they have nine players who can bat. So they have lengthened their batting lineup as well, and even someone like Akash Deep can hold a bat. Yeah, KL Rahul obviously was definitely, it seemed like he would go because he didn't score runs in the first test, and Sarfraz Khan went and scored a lot of runs. So KL Rahul had to go with Shubman Gill coming into the Indian side. Maybe they're looking at KL Rahul for the Australian series because his technique is better suited for those conditions than these conditions. But at present, KL Rahul has to sit out. So some good, decent changes there. Especially, I like Akash Deep coming into the Indian side. He's best suited for this kind of pitches, and I expect him to do reasonably well in this test.
Yep.
Absolutely. Ishan, three spinners, two pacers. How are you looking at this now that India is going into bowl first?
Yeah, I think first of all, again, good to see Akash Deep here. I think in the first test match, I think somewhere we started to realize that the Indian team missed it. So good to see him in the mix of things. And the spinners will come into action definitely as the pitch slows down. I think the spinners will have a role to play. So good move there. I think the Pune wicket might extract some spin for these spinners, and if you want to cause some damage to the Kiwi batters, I think the spinners might do it most, at least in these conditions at the moment. So it's looking good for this Indian side. Shubman Gill is also here, coming back from an injury, so hopefully he can go on and score some runs. It'll be important for him to score some runs as well. So I think Shubman Gill will have a big role to play. And of course, KL Rahul, we've already spoken about him so much. He's missed out in this test match, and it'll be difficult for him to possibly try and make a comeback from this stage, in my opinion. Now, I think he's had been given the opportunities, probably didn't make the most out of it. And now with this Indian team having such a heavy competition, but especially in those like in the number that he wants to play, it's going to be very difficult. However, we never know what happens later on Australia series. He might see him play there, but it seems like a strong side. And like Bharat mentioned, almost everyone can bat here until Akash Deep. The Indian team has the batting where they can hold that sort of batting unit. Even Bumrah can possibly stay on the wicket. He's not a batter, of course, but he can stay on the wicket. So there's no one who can't bat at the moment, which really gives the edge to the side, Gagi.
Absolutely. Athro is back with us. Athro, what about you? You've been there, and Shubha so as well. What have you seen so far in practice sessions? What have you heard? What are you expecting out of these conditions? What kind of a pitch are you expecting? That's my question.
See, pitch is obviously going to assist Spain. I mean, indications were there. And Pune, this MCA stadium in the outskirts of Pune, a place called Gahunje, has traditionally assisted Spain. And this time, I think there has been an additional effort on part of the Indian team management to have a turning wicket so that they can have a stronger chance of coming back into the series by winning this match. So I'm sure that the wicket pitch will assist Spain. And as pointed out by everybody else, that New Zealand have won a massive, massive toss. In 2017, when Australia came here to play a test match over here, it was the first match of the series, and it was the first match at the MCA Stadium in Gahunje. It was a turning wicket. Australia won the toss and won the match by 300 odd runs. So early indications are not good for India. If New Zealand gets somewhere near 300, it's going to be an uphill task for India because our Indian batters have not been really very assertive against spin bowling of any kind, be it from any country. So it's going to be a very difficult task for India since New Zealand has won the toss. I'm sure the pitch will assist Spain. How much of it, from when, what is the degree, that we have to find out. That we cannot predict. But I think New Zealand won a massive toss, and the pitch will assist Spain. And batting fourth in this wicket is going to make it very challenging for India.
And when it comes to New Zealand, there's one change. Of course, Mitchell Santner is coming in for Matt Henry, who's out because of a glute niggle. But and of course, three changes for India. But when it comes to the New Zealand squad, Abhijit, Mitchell Santner coming in, this pitch is. What do you expect out of Mitchell Santner at this point? Does this, is this a threat for India?
See, Mitchell Sattner, with his slow left arm orthodox, of course he's like someone like a Akshar Patel, and that's the strategy of the away team wants to take, because on the spinning tracks you need someone. I remember when the last time India lost a Test series was against England, way back in 2012, 2013, I guess, and they had Monty Panesar in their squad, who was a spinner and then was a left arm. I think the left slow orthodox what Mitchell Satner. I think he's going to make difference, and of course he has played in IPL and he knows how the conditions are there. So I think it just could be and then with the track record of Pune being such a turning track, it might just get in the favor of for New Zealand. It's a good move by New Zealand, I would say, but nevertheless, the same the turning spinner we have from India as well, like Jadeja and Ashwin is there, and of course Washington Sundar. I think, but good move by New Zealand, I would say.
Absolutely. Bharat, your thoughts?
Not sure. I guess it's a little bit of blow for New Zealand that Matt Henry is not playing because he's one of their best seamers. Hits the pitch hard in these conditions. In the second innings, especially, Matt Henry might have come into the equation because it would hit the indentations, and that would have helped New Zealand. But I think the greatest strength of Mitchell Santner is he doesn't spin the ball. He mostly bowls it straight. So a lot of batters might get confused that the ball will turn and the straight ball will go and get to LBW. I think that's Sanders' greatest strength. Maybe in the second innings, when the pitch really starts to turn, some of the Indian batters might start to play Sanders for the turn, and then the straight ball will get New Zealand and LBW. That could help Mitchell Sander. But if you ask me, I think it's a blow for New Zealand because Matt Henry has been their best seamer over the last couple of years or 3 years since Trent Bolt decided enough is enough. I don't want to play Test cricket.
Ishan, final question to you now. What do you think is a good score to bundle out New Zealand for at this point?
I think the Indian team would not want to give New Zealand anything more than 350. Gage. I think 350 will be pretty competitive, and anything above that will make life difficult for this Indian side. So I think somewhere around 300 would be a good place to try and build and get them out. It's going to be difficult because if the New Zealand team plays smart cricket, then you never know if the partnerships are built, run the squad, and if if not even one, if a couple of partnerships are built, then the game can well and truly be taken away from the Indian side. So somewhere around 300 will be a good place to be. Anything above 350 might get difficult.
Atreya, final question to you actually. Who do you think are the biggest threats to India right now? What is the biggest threat?
Biggest challenge for the Indian team because New Zealand will be making first use of this pitch, which is expected to assist turn. So they will possibly be enjoying the best conditions for batting on this surface. So I think 350 will be a winning total, and India would like to, irrespective of how much New Zealand gets, I mean, it's a question of India batting big in the first innings. So that is going to be the biggest challenge because it's India who will bat in the fourth innings over here, which is not going to be easy. So it's very important for India to get some good runs on the board in the first innings. So other than getting New Zealand all out for as little as possible in the first innings, they will also have to bat really big and score some substantial runs on the board in the first dig. So I think that is going to be the biggest challenge for India from here on. Not just bowling, not just bowling. Bowling will obviously be important because they will have to get them out for something not very substantial. Now after that, it will come down to batting, and that is where I think the match will be decided. The first inning gap between the teams will decide the course of this match.
Well, thank you so much, Atreya, Bharat, Ishan, and Abhijit for joining. We'll be back for lunch for the discussion of how the first session goes. But stay tuned till then, and thank you everyone for watching.